Welcome to Short Game Long Talk, a video game podcast where we play short games, talk about them for entirely too long. I am one of your hosts, Eric, joined always by my co-host, Jess.
Hi.
And Jess. We have a returning guest, and I think it's been over a year, but it
Maybe,
doesn't feel like
probably.
that for me because I talk to him almost every week. But we're joined once again to talk about Jusant, game recommended by the man himself. We're here joined by Phil of 70% Complete, also my TCM co-host. Phil, what's up, dude? How are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hello.
I'm excited to chat about this here video game.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Jusant, before we get into that, we're going to kind of reintroduce Phil because we have a new structure of guest stuff. But if you're here for Jusant, Jusant is a 2013 or 2023 puzzle platformer published and developed by Don't Nod, who you may know of from Life is Strange. We were talking about it pre-show. They have quite a plethora of games that are kind of all over the place, and I kind of love it. This is a quick little game for the most part. It feels a bit longer because it feels like harrowing and like slow and methodical, but it's still about 5.5 hours. Before we get into the Phil question section, how long did it take you guys to beat this game? Phil, I know you played it for the first time like years ago, probably around when it came out. How long do you think it took you?
So it's hard to say. I think my first complete time was around 8 hours.
Okay.
My Xbox tells me that I have 16 hours in this game. And the second time I played it for the show, I played it on Steam. And we were talking about this a little bit before the show, but the Steam Deck clock is a little goofed. So right now it thinks that I have 2.7 hours in this game. I think I'm probably closer to 6-ish. And for the class, I did not finish this game for the show, and I'm sorry about it. But I got through most of it.
That's okay. You guys will realize that this episode is going to be talking about a lot of things that are not talked about too much in the game itself.
Yes.
This is going to be very in the weeds episode of Short Game Long Talk. Jess,
Yes.
the video game crammer herself. How did you fare with this game time wise?
To be fair, 30 of these minutes, because I didn't want to have to reload my save. 30 of these minutes were spent in the kitchen making myself breakfast and lunch. So
okay,
I have
pretty
7
quick.
hours.
7 hours. Dang, and you did that all today.
All today.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Wow, that's nuts. Okay.
You did miss out on one of the weird cool features of this game by not reloading a save, which is it does my favorite thing in a video game. My favorite thing? One of my favorite things. One of my favorite things in a video game is when you leave the level and then you reload the game, the start menu is just the character sitting on the checkpoint ledge. And then you hit continue and you're just like in the game. It's super cool. And they always pick like the most beautiful spot to do that in. It's really neat.
Of course.
Look, you can go back. There's so much to explore in this game. For me, I also played it on the Steam Deck. I was on a time crunch. Like a little inside baseball. This was one of the first games that I was like close to not finishing for the show, which I've never done. I got insanely busy. I played for an hour 2.5 weeks ago. I then played for 45 minutes while I was in California for the 4th of July. And then I crammed the rest of my 3.5 hours, 5.5 hour total playtime last night, and stayed up an hour past my typical time. But I did it. And boy, when I went back and reviewed the chapters, did I miss a lot for chapters 4 and 5.
Yeah.
There's worth noting there's 6 chapters. The 6th chapter is like basically an epilogue. It's not really like a full chapter like the rest of them.
Yeah.
So 4 and 5 are the brunt of like these really long sections, and your boy missed a lot. And this is a great introduction for people transitioning into who is Phil. If you don't know who Phil is, Phil likes reading in games.
I do.
And I'm not talking Doki Doki Literature Club or our typical short game long talk reading. I'm talking he likes emails, or in this case, he likes written letters throughout the game.
Oh, yes.
Which is the brunt of what we'll probably be talking about. But Phil, tell the people more about yourself before we get back into talking about Jusant.
Yeah, sure. So I am. Oh, what am I? Like a jack of all trades, I guess, of scripted and edited video content. I write for 70%complete.com, where you can find reviews, blog posts, general screeds about the current state of the video game industry. And
it's
then
real good, right?
yeah, it's going great. It's July 7th today. Nothing has happened on Monday or Tuesday that has ruined yet more of the industry.
Yeah.
So you can see me write about that stuff on there. And then the bigger stuff that I've been doing lately is I make very long video essays now. I made a very long, about hour and a half long video essay about Avowed, kind of critiquing it through the lens of surrealism, which was a really fun project. I had so much fun doing that I thought, what the heck? I would take on another video project that takes me 4+ months to do. And so right now I'm working on one that is called The Most Powerful Weapon in Wolfenstein, talking about Wolfenstein: The New Order. It has got me picking up some books from the library that have put me on some lists, I'm sure. So watch that video when it comes out so I can afford stuff at the prison commissary. That one's gonna be fun. I'm doing a bunch of like weird filmmaking tricks and having a lot of fun filming it. So I'm like hot off of filming most of it today. So feeling very high on the project right now.
I saw some behind the scenes stuff today. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely go check out Phil's stuff, specifically that Avowed video. That is basically a feature length film. At very minimum, a straight to DVD sequel, like length video.
I would say there is a stretch of animation in there that is not worse than a straight to DVD Disney Channel movie.
Oh, I would say it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's better for sure. Yeah, definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, and it's good.
And if you also want to see just me and Phil talk more, we have the content mill as well.
Yes. That's I get to have my long digressions about philosophy and the nature of life and living with my co-host on a 70% Complete podcast. I get to shake loose and play fun games with my friends on the content mill. So
yes,
I'm a man of many flavors.
Yeah, and that's what we love. And with that, another question. We've played a lot of games on this show. We've been doing this for almost 4 years now. We're coming up close to 4 years. What is your favorite game that we've covered? And you've been on the show before, so you could technically say I was a teenage exocolonist, your previous episode. But I have a feeling you're not going to.
No, I'm not going to. So I was on the Exocolonist episode. I love that game. It was a fantastic game to play. It was something I probably never would have played by myself had we not covered it on the show. I think I had like submitted something to the Game of the Year episode last year.
Yes.
Where I said my favorite game they all did was Firewatch.
Yeah.
I'm also not going to say Firewatch. I don't know if I would say this game is my favorite that you have done. But because we're talking about Jusant and because the game that I will recommend you later is a bit of a nostalgic in my feelings, made me think about video games game, I'm going to pick Limbo.
Oh, incredible pull.
So Limbo is a very good game. You should go back and listen to the episode if you haven't, dear listener. Limbo came out, I guess I don't know when it actually came out. I played it in 2013, I think. It was my last semester of college.
I think you played
That's pretty close.
Is it around then?
Let me see. 2010, so 3 years later.
Okay. So I played it in 2013, I think, in my last semester of college. And it was kind of the like victory lap semester of college where I went to community college. So my credits were kind of weird and I needed to kind of round that out for my 4.5 year education. So I was deep in writing my thesis about BioShock. And I also took this really cool media studies class that was basically about Generation Remix and all of that stuff. But it was the first time I'd like taken a college level course that was looking at media, like cross media stuff. Like we did books, we read papers by Ian Bogost, we like looked at music videos. Like people were submitting projects that were built in Minecraft, and the last thing that we did was play Limbo. So it's like one of the first times I ever looked at a game truly critically in a way that's like, what's going on here? Why is this working? What is it trying to say? Like, how can I take that away? And like that experience was like really formative. Like I was also like trying to start a video game review blog at that time. I was like just leaving college, so like figuring out my life and what I wanted to do and all of that stuff. And Limbo, especially now with like the website going, with, you know, thinking deeply about the games that I'm covering and what I want to say about them. I've been thinking about Limbo a lot and like class and how much it kind of means to me in retrospect now. Because at the time I was like, cool, I get to play a video game.
Yeah.
But now it's like so much more than that.
I feel like that would make a good little mini essay for you, which will then turn into an 1.5 hour long video project.
It'd take longer than the game to play.
Yeah, probably. Jess, I forget, what was your take on Limbo? It's been a while since we've touched on that one.
I think I liked it, but I was like frustrated.
I think I remember that too. I think it was tough because we played our very first game on the show was Playdead's Inside, which is masterclass in puzzle vibe horror game. And then you go back and you can see the DNA of what would become Inside, but Limbo definitely has its quirks. And then you realize it came out in 2010, and then it feels like a miracle that it came out at all.
Yeah, when an indie game of that size and that scope coming out in 2010 and like hitting it as big as it did is miraculous.
It feels like a miracle for sure.
Yeah,
that's a great pick, and I feel like a pick that, you know, you look at the list of like 40 games that we've played.
There's a lot.
There's a lot, and they're most like, hey, last year all nothing but bangers. So it makes it tough, you know. Like, so I'm glad you gave a little love to Limbo, but. The other question is, what is your recommendation for the show?
And all right.
I know you're kind of breaking the rules here.
I am.
You warned me. Okay.
So I checked how long to beat, and the game that I will recommend to you that I've only played a little bit of and haven't finished, clocks in around 10 hours. It is called Roki. And I recommend this partly because you're in the cute season, so I wanted to kind of stick to that. It has this gorgeous art style. It's kind of like I would say like mid 2010s Cartoon Network almost.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's really cool. You play as a younger kid who is in, I think, Norway, somewhere in Scandinavia, and like storybook Scandinavian monsters come to life, and you go from the 1980s in Scandinavia to, you know, fleeing away from a troll and then trying to find your lost little brother among like the Fae realm or something. I've only played a couple of hours of it. I remember, so I bought this game ages ago because in 2018, I think, it won the BAFTA for Best Story.
Yeah. I'm on the Steam page right now, and for those listening, it's Roki. Roki.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing like so many awards.
Yeah. So I've been meaning to sit down and actually play it. It's actually the last game I played on my Xbox.
Wow.
I just haven't gone back and finished it, but I've had a delightful time with it. It's it's a kind of simple, like side-scrolling puzzle game to some degree, but
it gives Night in the Woods vibes. Yeah. This, I just have to point this out. I went to the Steam page. Phil continues the track record of making me spend money because it's 90% off right now on Steam.
Really? Hell
it's
yeah.
$2 currently. So
I will be that's a steal.
If you're listening to this episode will be coming out like July 13th. So if the Steam Summer Sale is still going, the offer ends in 40 hours.
40 hours.
Yeah,
sorry,
40
friends.
Hours. It probably goes on sale fairly often.
And the DLC is $1.
What is the DLC?
I don't know. It just says Deluxe Edition upgrade.
What is
No
that?
idea.
Oh, it's like digital
Art?
stuff.
Soundtrack?
Oh,
Cool.
okay. Never mind.
Yeah, still pretty good. But what I have to point out is this game relevant to you? It says similar to games you've played. Mixtape, cool. Resident Evil 2. I don't know where it's pulling from on that. Resident Evil 2 remake is one of my favorite games of all time. I'll take it though. Like that's a shot in the dark. They're like, I think, is there a man named Leon in here? Like
There is like a
crazy.
scrapbook mechanic that I guess if you were running like a visual run through the screenshot, you're like, oh, that looks like the Tetris inventory stuff.
Oh, okay. I can
It
allow
is
that.
spooky. Like there is like moments of peril, I will say.
Yeah. Well, I'm buying it right now. I got 40 hours.
It's
I
good.
gotta buy it.
It's good.
Phil always does this. You can look through. Phil and I have recorded probably close to. We're probably nearing like 100 hours of content together.
Yeah. At least 75, I'd say.
At least, and he has made me spend probably close to, I would say, $50 to $100 somewhere in there on video games.
We're working up to the dollar an hour. That's my rate.
It is pretty impressive how often it happens. That's hard to pass up. I gotta buy that. You're recommending it.
Pretty good.
That is good. That's a great like. I might not play it for a while, but like, hey.
Yeah.
At least you have it.
We have Jess. You have it now too, because it's.
I have it now too.
Because it's in the Steam library. Shout out to the Steam library for podcast duos everywhere. Good God.
Yeah.
It is magical. Okay, what's your rule breaker? 10 hours is good. What's your rule breaking?
So the reason I bring this up is because originally, when we were talking about the next episode I was going to come on, it was possibly to do The Invincible.
Yes.
Which is a first-person space game based on a novel written by, I think, a Polish writer, Stanislaw Lem, in the
also
60s.
90% off right now on Steam.
Fuck, it's such a good game. You should play that game. I'm not recommending that game because I've already recommended that game, and you will play it.
I will play it.
But it's a retro future sci-fi walking sim with choice-based narrative.
Yeah.
What I'm recommending to you is a retro future sci-fi walking sim with a choice-based narrative. But this one is only 2.5 hours long.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was throwing you a bone for a shorty here.
Okay.
This game is called Return to Grace, which is basically you play as a space archaeologist, and you have finally found, after a long time, the resting place of the long-lost AI god who is known as Grace. And you basically visit the space station of Grace, and you have your little companion robot on your arm there, who is, I think it's different AI personalities. One's like empathy, one's like, I can't remember what the other ones are. It's a really cool game. The reason I recommend it is because it's a shorty. It's retro future, which I love. It's sci-fi. It handles like interesting things of AI and religion, which is fun. It's also the second game I ever reviewed, and it is technically the first game I reviewed after I played Jusant. So,
oh wow,
I played it right around the same time. We'll talk about my feelings about Jusant as a game and how it relates to the rest of the stuff. But this is the first game that I sat down and actually wrote a review for after I played Jusant.
I was gonna say I went here. I was gonna say right here it says what your curators say, and wouldn't you know it, 70% complete's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. This looks really cool. This one is also on sale, not as deep of a discount, but it's only $15 normally. So I'll keep it on the wish list for one of those deep discounts because this looks crazy.
Yeah, it's real good.
The graphics also, like the graphical choice on this definitely gives like BioShock vibes.
Yep.
Which also very Phil coded. Yeah. Also, another Phil thing, if you don't know about him, is typefaces. Very good typeface on Return to Grace. That the Grace specifically with the little starburst in the A. Yep. Very good design. Very good choice there.
The typeface in the Steam page where it says key features. That is the title typeface of the Invincible. It's like,
I was gonna say that's a good typeface.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm not gonna guess on this, but I think it's Futura Display.
Yeah, If you ever hear me talk about
close.
I have a fonts guy, it's Phil.
Fonts.
He does love fonts. I literally, when I did my whole rebrand for my stream, I sent him, I was like, hey, what's the closest thing you can get me to the VHS logo font? And he found me one.
Yeah, I got you one.
Yeah, it was great. Okay, well, we've mentioned Jusant again. So
Yep.
we're going to start talking about Jusant in detail. We're going to bounce around, talk about how we felt about the game. If you want to hang around, just forewarning, there will be spoilers because we cannot control what we're going to talk about because it's just going to kind of flow just like the game itself, where you're just kind of in a flow state, climbing, walking around. And yeah, so you've been warned. We're going into things. Jess, I am very curious. Surface level, what did you know about this game? What did you think about this game? How did it feel to play?
So I didn't realize I did know this game.
Mm-hmm.
When you told me, hey, we're gonna play Jusant, I was like, I haven't played this game before, like looking at it. And then I got here to my boyfriend's and I was looking at it, I was like, this seems so familiar.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, I came and visited my boyfriend, and this was on Game Pass.
Yep.
And we were both bored, and we were like, well, let's go find a game to play that's like easy. And we saw this game, and we played it to like chapter 2, and then we just kept getting stuck. Like we couldn't figure it out 2 years ago, so we just stopped. And so up to chapter 2, I was like, yep, I remember this. Yep, and skip through all the dialogue. I know all of what these notes are all saying because I made him every single time we would find a note. I would wait, let me read it.
Yeah.
And this was on like a big TV screen, so I was like, reading the whole screen. I did not read the notes this time. I was too scared about like if I
running
could
out of time.
Yeah. But so I knew it was a climbing game. I knew there was I knew of the mechanics because we played it on Xbox and I was using my Xbox controller. So I knew how to play this time. I didn't spend an hour trying to figure out game mechanics like I usually do.
Yeah.
But I mean that's really all I knew. I was like climbing, these are the mechanics, there's notes. That's it.
That's basically the game. This came out 2023. Obviously it's a handful of years. It's 6 years removed from Breath of the Wild, but that's basically around the time when 4 to 6 years is around the time where people were like, people love the climbing in Breath of the Wild. We need to put climbing in everything. And obviously with development times and things like that, that's about when they probably were like, let's make stuff about climbing. And this game is just climbing, except structured, because you do need to find like handholds and things like that. This isn't as in depth as like Cairn, I've heard, because Cairn, I think you also control your feet. And worth noting, there is accessibility options for this where you can just turn it into like Zelda climbing, where you can't climb on everything, but you're not in control of the hands as much. Whereas in base controls, you use the triggers. Left trigger is your left hand, right trigger is your right hand. You hold them down to grip, you have stamina and whatnot. Originally, the first 2 hours I played, I did play like that. And then just because I was in unconventional situations playing on my Steam Deck, not the most comfortable to hold down those triggers forever. So I did switch on the accessibility. And it did still feel fun. And there still was a bit of challenge. So I would say, like, if you're feeling like, oh, you want to get moving in the game, climbing wise, turn those on. Still keep stamina on as well, because you can turn that off if you really want to make it easy. But that does kind of eliminate the literal only other barrier that can be a challenge, because it just like eliminates mechanics late in the game. But yeah, this game I've known about for a while. It's been recommended to me a couple times. It was on Game Pass. It's been on the list for Short Game Long Talk since I think the beginning. It's one of the ones that we had originally wanted to play. And yeah, I thought this game was pretty fun. I would say it was a pretty fun, like little flow statey game, but I was just like enraptured with the environment and the storytelling, which I'll pass off to Phil. Phil, give us a little background on like what this world is when we're going into Jusant and like how the game starts, because I think that's pretty important to like what everything is about in this game.
Yeah, so I guess you start Jusant by walking across a desert. but the desert is filled with sailboats, and there's a bunch of seagulls hanging out there. And your main character walks up to the giant tower that they're about to climb, and it is filled with like nautical stuff. Like there's ropes, there's buoys, there's crab pots, there are boats just hanging off the side of this thing. And basically, the world that you have entered is somehow the water has receded and completely left this place barren. There's no water left anymore. And you don't really know why. You kind of figure out by the end of the game why.
Yeah.
But really, there is a mountain, you must climb it. And then you figure out as you go what has happened here, and why you need to climb to the top. Besides, there's a mountain, you must climb it.
Yeah, that was like one of the most shocking things was I didn't know anything about this game except it's a climbing game, right? I didn't know, and there was a cute creature. So when you did recommend this game to come on the show and talk about, I was like, it passes the test.
Yeah, it passes the cute test.
There's a cute little ballast in this game.
There is a pet button. You can look at that little guy whenever you want.
There's a hug button too later.
Yeah.
It's very cute. Yeah, I was like, what the hell is going on with all these like boats and stuff like that? And then you realize like it kind of gives you, it's obviously it starts in media res, and then it also does another cut to then like you're kind of up the pillar already. Like it doesn't explain how you got to like your starting point, but then you look down and it's so far down already, and there's docks and boats and lighthouses and stuff like that, and you're like, how fucking deep was the water? And it's all gone. Like it just makes your head start to spin of like it's all gone. Like and you think it's just like, who are we at this point too? Like who the hell are you? And it's one of those perfect things of being like, well then also just go have fun and climb, right? And explore. But then it starts off with so many unanswered questions right off the rip. And I thought that was like, I was like, okay, cool. I'm enraptured already with like where we are kind of thing. Because it does so many little things that makes you like think, like all of a sudden you don't see any water, but then there's like mammalian creatures running around and you're like, well, they got to survive somehow. Like, how does that work? And then you find like remnants of civilization and you're like, well, people have been here recently. How long ago was this? And then you start reading notes and you're like, people have been gone for fucking ever. Where are all the people? Yeah. Jess, what was your like first when you're like in the environment kind of thing? Because I know you, like you said, you had played it a little bit before, so you kind of rushed through the beginning bits this time. What were you like? What questions were rolling around in your head like to start this game off?
I was just like, okay, if they're not here, where did they go? Because like a lot of the notes were being like, oh, we're leaving. Oh, this group is leaving. I'm going with this group. Like, where did they leave to? Because like, if this is the world, where else in the world are you going?
Right. Because like there's, I think very early on there's two. They established two types of people. There's Bianca, who we'll talk about a lot. We're kind of following in her footsteps, that she is with a ragtag group of people that are going to the top, up to the crow's nest, I think is the goal. And then above that to try to find water because there's no water. And then there's people that are dipping and going down. And I forget what they call the area surrounding the pillar, but it's got its own name of like, you know, whatever, but it's just the nothingness. Like no one knows what's out there. They don't know what they can do up and they don't know what they can do out, but people are making choices because they're at the point of desperation of like, there's three choices. We stay here and die, we go up and possibly die and find a solution, or we leave and possibly die and find a solution, right? Like it's a situation of desperation that everybody's in. And obviously the easiest choice, if you want to have a chance, is to leave the pillar, because going down obviously is much easier than climbing up the treacherous, nasty pillar that you have to go up. But yeah, Bianca is the one that we'll probably reference a lot. Like I said, she's the one that like I was you kind of immediately realize like, oh, these are the letters and notes and journal entries that you're going to find along the main path Whereas like the other ones are just kind of like, oh, this is a random job posting. This is a random like conversation between two people complaining about the lighthouse or the boats or the lack of fish or whatever, to kind of give you the set dressing and fill in the world a bit. Phil, I'm curious where you want to take the discussion, because I know you have. I'm cool. Like there's so many moments we can kind of just sprinkle in throughout, but I want to let you. We've been recording for we've been talking for over an hour roughly, but episode wise we're about 30 minutes in. So I want you to kind of let loose and give you the floor with what you want to talk about.
Yeah, sure. So I do want to talk about Bianca. However, the climbing in this game and Bianca are kind of the least interesting things to me about it. The thing that I love about Jusant, the reason I recommended it, the reason that it has kind of stuck with me since I played it a couple years ago, is you kind of alluded to this earlier, but I like to read in my video games. I like to read people's mail. I like to read emails. I like to listen to their voice memos. I like to do all of that stuff. I think that a lot of games get voice memos and audio logs and notes kind of wrong. They're put in place to be, let me tell you a story, and they kind of see them as like a means to fill in the texture of a world, but kind of like ham-fisted in there, which is not necessarily how I feel about the Bianca story, but I think it leans further in that direction than what I actually like, which is the 80% of other writing in this game.
Yeah.
Which is just people talking shit. Like it's just so much of the boring fluff of living a life. And I think it's interesting to set this game up as a post-apocalypse story, because like that's what it is. Like you're in Fallout
100%.
land coming through here. Like you will find a couple of skeletons of the people who live here. You will find the remnants of houses. You'll find like people who have notes in their houses where they cleared out and they left all their belongings there. And I think the thing that strikes me the most about this game is how well written the stuff you're going to miss is, and how well that combines with the world as you see it. Like this is an absolutely gorgeous game, to the level where I would say that like it's scary close to Last of Us level of detail when it is like when you're looking at these lived in spaces. And they didn't have to do it, but it makes the storytelling that they're doing in all of the little notes. Like you'll come across post relays every once in a while. Their entire postal system on the island is run through pneumatic tubes, but those pneumatic tubes are powered by water, because of course it is. So when the water goes away, the mail goes away. There's not enough water to run the postal relays. So people, then they have to transition to using the like rock little creatures that you have to grab onto later in the game. And then there's not enough of those. So the mail stops. And it's just like little tiny stories about how water is so intrinsic to how these people live that when it goes away, everything just feels different. And this is kind of where I'm angling this, because I told you earlier that I made sure that I grabbed the one screenshot that I absolutely needed. There is a note in this game, which is a much better written version of what I just said. But I've thought about this note since I played this game, and it was one of the first times I read something in a video game where I was like, that was completely unimportant. You did not need to say this. There's no reason this note needed to exist. But it is a line that I've thought about ever since I played that game, probably weekly, most likely daily. And it is at the end of this thing where this person says there's not enough water to run the postal relays. They're thanking someone who wrote a letter to the newspaper, who wrote a thing about the dumb seagulls or whatever. And they say, thank you for your feedback on the show. I've always enjoyed covering that event. Let's hope we get an opportunity to discuss it again one day. When there's no water, everything seems so fragile, doesn't it? And it's like this, like that's the game. Like they just like put it in there. They're like, this is the goddamn theme. and it's hidden away in a little postal message that you probably didn't find. Or if you did, you probably didn't read it because people don't read these things in video games.
I read that one, Phil. I read that one.
They put it there, you know, and I think that that's the thing that I love about Jusant so much is that the climbing, yes, like it's kind of like Breath of the Wild light. I kind of like it better than Breath of the Wild, but I like
it's 100% better than
Breath of the Wild.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's better than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild has more like less structure and just like it has the lizard brain of like I want to climb it so you can, whereas this one is like you have to kind of look and be like, okay, what am I?
Think about it.
Yeah.
Like that was, if you're like a long time listener and like you have great memory, you'll remember me saying how much I liked Breath of the Wild but can never ever like actually play it or even finish it because of how like lizard brainy and like you can do whatever. Jusant's better in that sense because it gives me the structure but also the freedom to do whatever I want. I was literally
like,
playing it today. I was playing it today. I was like, damn, if Breath of the Wild was like this, I'd be done.
Yeah. I will say one thing.
You said it, not me.
I will say that I can't. The one control thing in this game I cannot stand is the baby jump when you're not climbing, because I'm like the jump is so minuscule, it drives me insane because I want to just be like, oh, I'm at the top of the stairs and I want to like hop down, like and cut a corner basically. But instead, your character's like, no, I can't do that. I can't do it. And I'm just like, there's so many times where I'm like, wouldn't a satisfying just like 3-foot jump be nice right here? Because everything else is so satisfying, so thought of. And I'm like, it's not like this kid is not capable. Like this kid is clearly capable. They should be able to rocket themselves. Like I've seen what they can do on the wall. They can double jump. Like that was the only thing. When you press A, you go like a half an inch above the ground, and I'm like, oh no, that's super. That's the only control thing that I'm like, this would make it so much more satisfying if I could just jump down things a little faster. But back to the notes. The notes, I think, that is one that I read that I remember being like, oh yeah, the acknowledgement, and then there's another one the one I thought you were gonna read is the one when you're in the cave systems, and the lady is like, well, I can't do this anymore. I guess I'll write poetry. And then you find another one later where she wrote poetry. And, and I'm like, that's so sick. Like that's what basically there is a system of borders in this game on the notes that you receive that kind of denote the importance of like, this is the main story one, this is just a side little flavor one, and this is kind of like the B plot, which is like the systems with the tubes, the pneumatic tubes. Those are kind of the B plot ones that you'll find throughout, and they kind of tell you all the problems that are happening. And then you have Bianca's, which are on like it's got like a blue border that's clearly out of a notebook kind of thing that she's writing her journal pages in. And then if you just find like plain paper ones, that's the real deep cut, like these are just random people writing down their thoughts kind of thing. And I did like that a lot because it's like, okay, I know kind of what to put my brain in and kind of link things together. I think a lot more of things that are games like this that have the, reading through emails, reading mail, it should notate very quickly like, oh, hey, this is a main story one. Like, it's important to the story. And then these are the ones that are going to give you your lore and your deep detail stuff that I think is very neat. Was there any other ones that kind of stood out among the three?
That was the big one. But just to give you like a flavor of what the just like white paper ones are, this is also from that cave system.
Cave system is the best part of the game by far.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
This one says, "This morning I forgot to put lichen in my drink, but drank it anyway, and then cried tears of joy because my toast was so delicious. I'm so wound up I can't get anything done. I don't know if I should blame the drought, the evacuation that started, or the end of the world. Anyway, I've got mushrooms to grow." Just like someone just wrote a journal. I think like truly the notes, and then how much did y'all interact with the shells?
I tried to. I missed all shells in the 5th chapter though.
The shells are
only one.
Oh, okay.
The shells are what again? Are they the spinny things or the?
No,
The listens thing.
You hold
Yes.
them up.
Those are the best part of the game. Those are the if you missed the whole thesis that Phil just gave of like the beauty of like this used to be a place. That is the like crux of this game in visual form of like people used to live here and here is an echo of it.
Yeah.
And I thought that super well done because it gives it in a way of like we're not going to show you what it was, right? Like we're going to keep bringing up Breath of the Wild. I might as well. There's memories in Breath of the Wild that give you like a cutscene, right? And I absolutely adore those. They're some of my favorite parts of the game. But in this one, it's like obviously this is a smaller team. They have a lower budget. They're like, we're just going to give these nice panning shots with noises and symbolism of like a bath that used to just have kids playing in a bath. And that's it, with noises of kids playing in a bath, but the bath is dried out and the toys are on the floor and everything's cracked and broken and things used to be here. And beautiful. I don't know why my brain didn't clock that the shells were, because while you were talking, I wanted to bring up the shells.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I was like, what was the shells? I missed a lot of those towards the end and I'm bummed, but like those are incredible.
For some reason, and like I don't know why, but for some reason, one shell in particular just made me like low-key like start tearing up. I was like, man, people, this was a place. It was the one, the haircut salon where like there was people laughing. I was like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Yep.
The kids one fucked me up. The one I was talking about with the bath. It's
splashing
like
in the bath. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's pretty hidden too. Like it's some of these you have to do some crazy like swinging to get to, and they do. Okay, this is a complete side note, but like these people are a fan of Dark Souls for sure because they do exactly the same trick that Dark Souls pulls all the time. Of like, oh, you've got here. Okay, here's the shortcut back to where you just were without you realizing that shortcut was ever there. Like it's so good. And I was like, one of my favorite bits was right before, it was around the time where I found, like, almost actually exactly where I found that shell with the bath. You can basically I think that was chapter 3, because 4 is the cave system, and then 5 is the windy bit.
Yeah.
So basically, all of chapter 3, you can see where you started. If you look back, you can see it the entire chapter. And every once in a while, I would just look back and it was just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I was like, holy shit. Like, you don't realize how fast you were climbing this mountain. And except in like that moment felt like it was that whole chapter to be like, here's the scale, by the way, of how big this mountain is and how big this pillar is. Phil, what were some of the other ones that if you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I'm scrolling through them right here. There's a couple of them that I really liked. I think you two mentioned the two that I liked the most. The image of, also from the hair salon one, Jess, the image of going over the like carpenter's craftsman tools, and it just like to really give you a like good audio idea of what these are. They are basically slideshows where they are slow panning over a static image of a like hyper focused version of a specific environment. And like this is basically the game's photo mode. Every single one of these I have the video clip of because they're so good. And so basically your character walks up, puts the conch shell to their ear. It then like does this over each one of these images. It lingers for a couple seconds. It plays like basically cafe background sound, but for each one of them. And then it like slow dissolves and fades into a next one of just this area that you're in. And every single one of them is like it's nondescript. Like you're hearing like the sound of tools hitting, you're hearing the sound of like people pouring water into a fountain or a bath and kids are playing. You hear like the drip of water in like a fun little like pinwheel thing. And then it goes through this whole cycle of like 4 or 5 images. And then it gives you the quit button where it shows like how to end this. And then you hit the button and then the shell fades into dust in your hand and you cannot do it again. Like you lose the ability to like be in this moment of life again. And like every single one of them is affecting and nice. The tools one I think about a lot. the pool one where you're like
Mhm.
pouring you hear the water pouring in there, just, themes, like that's what's in there. Um,
Mhm.
the other one is the tavern that you go into in the first level when you're still ascending.
Mhm.
There's like I think it's maybe the first one you run into, but it's just like the sound of clinking dishes and like the sound of cafe and like the sound of life. And like it is important to say, if we haven't drilled this home enough, you are the only human being you see the entire time.
Mhm.
There are no
Whole
other
game.
people here. There are, like, I think there is one or two skeletons that you see, but it looks like this entire place has simply been vacated and no one is here. So these are the only like touches of life that you get besides the notes, and
Mhm.
I love every single one of them, and just like the punch in the gut of the first one of like, you don't get to experience this again anymore. Like once
Mhm.
you quit, it is like you have quit. You are
That's
done
it.
now.
Yeah.
Also, they don't show up in the menu. When you go back to the extras menu, you can read all of the letters that you found, and they're split
Mhm.
between letters and Bianca. These scenes do not appear there. Like they are ephemeral. Like they happen in the game, and
That's
then they don't
crazy.
happen ever again.
That's
Love
really
it.
cool.
So smart.
Yeah, that's a good detail. Yeah, man, that the moments, honestly, the whole, once you reach the section of the, because you're basically climbing on the outside wall, then you overcome like that. Basically, each chapter introduces either a new mechanic or a new obstacle. Chapter 3 is about the sun. You also are able to start using the ballast, which is your little companion that activates plant life. And up until that point, it was no problem. But now that if the plant life is in the sun for too long, it shrivels up and dies. Um, and you're doing all this, and you're like, okay, cool, yeah, we're climbing a rock on the outside, like that makes sense. And then you go inside the pillar, and you realize like there's whole, like this is the most complete leftover, like it's untouched. It's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
basically like it looks like people still live here because the outside's been beaten down by weather and by the sun and all that stuff. And then you get into the cave system, which is completely void of all of that issues. And like right around the thing that was like really, it really stood out to me was right around the same spot with the barber shop. There was like a burger joint, and it was just there, and it was just like there's nothing to interact with, but it was just there. The neon sign was still like lighting up, or probably in this one just a bioluminescent mushroom or something like that that was like lighting it up. And it's just like you realize again over and over again that people just lived here and they no longer are here. And then you read notes about Bianca meeting a farmer here and one of the people on their crew staying behind because they're like, I don't want to leave here. Like this
Yeah.
is, I'm happy here. And then you find another note from that farmer being like, yo, like it's really nice. We got a new person here, like somebody to tell to listen to my stories and all that stuff. And they reminds me of you. And you're, yeah. And then you go and find the cave jellyfish, which I just started like tearing up because I was like, this is so effortlessly beautiful that
Yeah.
this scene happened. And I was like, I was just standing there, and I was obviously like on a warpath to finish this game because I needed to finish the game and I knew today I'd be really busy. And I'm like running through it, looking at it, and like eyes are welling up, and I'm still like running, and I'm like, I don't even have time to process how like beautiful this is, but it's enough to make me tear up on like a moment's look kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cave system bit was by far my favorite part of the game. Like it just felt so cool. It felt like you were on an alien planet because all of a sudden everything's different. You don't have to worry about the sun, but now you have to really think about where you're climbing because you're hopping around like this crazy, crazy location and things like that. Um, what were some of your guys' favorite areas, if not also the cave system?
It was the cave system. That's where I had texted you right after I got out of the cave system.
Hmm.
I texted Eric saying, "How long is this game?"
Yeah.
Because at that point it felt like I was going to not finish.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "It's 6 chapters." And I had just got like I had literally, as he said, 6 chapters. Chapter 5. I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I got to chapter 5. I'll be
Yeah.
fine."
Yeah.
But I was quite literally just digging around the cave system, like a solid
There's a lot.
chunk of my game time was probably just in the cave system.
I think
around.
in review of the chapters, I think that one has the most like collectibles in it
Mm.
because there's like so many little nooks and crannies that you can get to. Phil, what about you? Also the cave system?
Yeah, I mean it's tough to beat, right?
Yeah.
Like the jellyfish, the like I get you so this entire time you're playing the game, you're climbing the side of a rock face. And like this is the first time that you go inside the rock face, but it's bigger. Like it's just like way more
Huge.
expansive when you're in there. And you're walking around and you're basically zip lining through these floating jellyfish that are kind of like birds, and there's
Mm-hmm.
like boats on the bottom. Like it's the same kind of imagery that you saw outside, but it kind of reconnects you to the bottom of the ground again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you find out like through the game, like through the notes and stuff, that this used to be a reservoir or something, and that there's some like local politics going on about the people who
Mm-hmm.
control the canal
Mhm.
ways to let the water down. And I also eat that shit up. But
Yeah.
it was just really cool to then be inside this like enclosed but expansive space that feels like you're underwater and you're just like flying through these jellyfish. And then if that wasn't enough, the way that chapter ends is like the coolest. Just like
Yeah.
the coolest visual way to end a chapter. It was so good.
Yeah. Give a little recap. What was it? What was it?
So I guess at the end of every section, what you're supposed to be doing, you find out through the game, is that are you referred to as the Piper? Is that
Yeah, they tell legends of a piper basically that there's two different legends that are one is that the piper brings the water and one is that the piper follows the water kind of thing. And like one
Mm,
like heralds the rain and then one is that he follows the rain kind of thing. So yeah, we are basically like the piper.
yeah,
Which you find from a note that's not I think Bianca talks about it. So it is discussed in like the
yeah.
main path notes that you'll get.
So at the end of every area, you have to basically blow in this big horn, and your
Mm,
friend helps you. Your little ballast friend helps you because
so
it's like
cute.
doing some sort of ritual. And so the way that that usually works is that like you blow in the horn and like greenery like comes up around you on the cool archways, or like it lights up the like standing stones around you, very Atlantis: The Lost Empire style,
Hell yeah.
which is
Mhm.
real good for me.
Yes.
But the third one is when you, I guess the third level mechanic that you get inside the cave system is that you like collect these fireflies and they help you double jump,
Hmm.
triple jump, I guess.
Yeah.
And what happens is you blow in the horn and you're standing in front of these like three inlets, also very Atlantis now that I think about it.
Hmm.
And you blow the horn.
Atlantis also very water based, weirdly enough.
Yes,
So
makes sense. Makes
yeah.
sense. Makes sense.
Themes.
Themes. Nobody says boom, but that's, you know, that's in the sequel. Um, so you blow the horn and then all these fireflies come out of the outlets and they basically just lift you and your little ballast friend up into the wind zone, and you just kind of like float up there. But it is absolutely gorgeous of just like all these
Hmm.
little tiny like glowy fireflies coming to swoop around you. And it does the class like it does. We're very Disney coded right now.
Yeah.
It does the like Disney princess like Cinderella thing kind of, where you like float up in the air. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, you float up in
Mhm.
the air and then you like give it a good spin and then you're
Yeah.
like wreathed in these guys and then you just kind of float up. It's
Yeah.
beautiful though. It's so good.
And
Yeah.
then obviously the transition into chapter 5, which is hey,
Hell,
there's plants. There's plants here though.
yeah,
Like
there is
all of a
life.
sudden
Yes,
everything is green and you're because you've been hearing so a little background on the ballast which you can read about in throughout the game is like they are apparently creatures made fully of water and they can be massive creatures and I think they're at one point referred to as like either leviathans or
yes,
whales or something like that and then that should click at that point because I don't know if they say it. The honestly, the I think the first time that it clicked that our little companion was a ballast was that I did something and the achievement popped up that
Achievement.
was like, oh,
ballast.
you did
Yeah,
something with the ballast. I was like, oh, I kind of feel like that shouldn't be spoiled right there. That's
yeah,
a ballast. That ballasts are real.
yeah.
But regardless, you kind of are like, okay, so that's our goal. Find a full grown ballast, which then also leads to more questions of like, where is our ballast from? Where's lots of fun unanswered questions that go unanswered, which is fun because it's like, yeah, where did this little guy come from? Where also we didn't even mention during the shell bit that when you put the shell up to your ear to hear the memory, the ballast like hugs you to also hear through your other side of the ear, which is very, very cute.
That's so cute.
Definitely passes the cute test there. Yeah, that God, I'm trying to think of what else we want to talk about because it's a very visual game. There's not a ton of story. We can kind of like I feel like the last thing we got to talk about is chapter 6. Not much to talk about except the location and then the ending cutscene. I don't think there's a true ending to this game. Maybe there is if you get everything.
I don't think so.
I can do that research, but like what else? What else, Jess? What else is there that you would want to talk about this game?
I mean, not much. We covered basically like the music was good. I'm always
Oh my
gonna be the
God.
one to bring up all the music.
Yes, please.
Mhm.
That was going to be my thing to bring up.
Yeah.
The music was so good. Like I usually am one to play my own playlists while I play video games because
hmm
for like I love video game soundtracks, but sometimes they just don't do it for me, and I would rather
hmm
just like listen to my playlists. But Jisan, I was like, there was no moment where I was like, let me pull up Spotify and just play
hmm
my own music. I was like, the way they curated all their music and wrote it all and like had it composed was so good and like so storytelling. Like the fact that they were able for me to tell the story through just the
hmm
music. Like I sat on specifically the barbershop
Oh,
scene like
yeah.
we're just like I just sat there just listening to it for a little bit. I was like, this is so good.
I love a good scissors foley. It's a good noise. It's a
Yeah.
good
Mm.
noise.
Cut it through some
Uh,
fabric. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's really good. Yeah, the music is they do that trick that I'm gonna bring up Breath of the Wild again. That Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom both do like very well, which is like the music just comes out of nowhere at a time that
Mhm.
feels orchestrated, but could not be orchestrated at the same time. Like it comes in and you're like, oh, this was planned, but it feels like it was just for me, kind of thing
Yeah.
because the timing is based off of a trigger that you could not possibly know about.
Yeah.
And it's such a simple little trick that feels real good. Yeah, the Jusant soundtrack will definitely be some background noise in the future because it's really good. This would be a good vinyl to have, I think, if it exists. It would be
It
real good.
does.
It does.
It's available. It's been sitting in a cart for me for a couple months now.
Yeah.
I will say, so the music, yes, it is impeccable. It is so good. They do like the incredible like musical swell as you're hitting the thing that doesn't make any sense. What I will say, since you are both lovers of this soundtrack,
hmm
there is a live version of it
Oh.
that is on streaming, and it
Okay.
is just piano and cello.
Oh.
And it is the composer Guillaume Ferrand is playing piano, and then Maya Collette is playing cello,
hmm
and it is live, and it is some of the best accompaniment I've heard in a really, really long time. It is a lovely live album. Like with you can tell that it was performed in like a very small space. I've
hmm
joked with Gianni about this before, but there is a moment in I think like I don't know, like one of the last tracks, like maybe Syzygy or like right before the end in like Ballast or
Is that how you
something.
say that?
Yeah,
Syzygy?
Syzygy.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
There's a moment where someone in the audience coughs.
Oh,
Uh,
right.
and it's this thing that like just like the game, like it does the thing again where it just like reminds you that like this is all about people. Like it's all
hmm
happening live. Like we're all here together, we're having this moment. And
Right.
it's so good. Like I
hmm
love the bass soundtrack. I wish that the live album was on vinyl because I would be
Yeah.
playing this thing nonstop. It's so good.
Yeah.
That you bring that up. That's something that has evolved with this show, and I think with your show, and with all the things that me and you have our fingers in as time has gone on. Of that cough, right? Is like if you go back to early, probably first year and a half to 2 years of short game long talk, it'll sound probably way better than we sound right now, except for
Yeah.
maybe Jess's mic quality has gotten better. Because I would listen to, also Short Game Long Talk was the only content I was making, so I had more time. But there's no background noises, there's no dogs barking, there's no coughing, there's no, the silence is to a minimum, all that kind of stuff. And now if my dog were to bark right now, that shit's staying in.
Yeah.
Because we're just people, right?
Yeah.
That's the big thing, is like, I'm always gonna roast Gianni every single time his smoke detector beeps, because it happens entirely too often on our podcast. And it's just because it's like, yeah, we're real people. Like, we're not on some ivory tower. We're perfect. Like, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, that cough is very important, and it's a good example of like, yeah, it's okay to have stuff be, not perfect all the
Yeah.
time.
And like
Yeah.
human made, I think is
Mm-hmm.
the like real thing that gets me. Like going back to Return to Grace and everything. Like
Yeah.
looking at this game and thinking about how much it is about life as much as it is about water. Like I feel that in all of my stuff that I do now,
Yeah.
where it's like it needs to be clear that this is made by a human with like deep thought and deep
Mm-hmm.
connection to the thing that they're making. Because like I don't know. Like I think that if you were to sit down and look at all of Don't Nod's games, you're gonna be like, this is the studio who makes rock solid sevens and like
Mm-hmm.
can punch above their weight and put out a 9 every 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can find some like truly, truly unique and beautiful things happening in Jusant, happening in, I mean, I love Banisher's Ghost of New Eden. There's some incredible storytelling in this game that is basically just aping God of War 2018. And like you can find it because it's made by humans who just
Yeah.
like do that shit.
Yeah. It is super important. I mean, that's like going forward, right? That's like,
Yeah.
especially with the day and age that we live in, like things made by people for people is very
Yeah.
important. Um, any closing thoughts before we kind of talk about the ending? Because the ending set piece is pretty crazy when you realize what's going on with everything. And I would love to hear theories as well, because obviously there's no clear cut answer on what the hell this final chapter is. No?
I
I don't
think that's no, I
Cool.
do. Wait,
Mm-hmm.
actually, I did have one. It's just a
Perfect.
stupid little side note.
I love stupid little
About
side notes.
about the audio as well. Funny enough, um, just the audio. Like if you ran around in the grass, you heard the grass.
Mm-hmm.
If you ran through, did you guys? What are they called? Hold on, hold
The
on, hold
little
on.
poppers.
yeah, popper guy, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the poppers, but also the bogey, the chocos.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They sound like my dog.
They do sound like your dog. Oh, I knew I
Ooh.
recognized that noise somewhere. Yeah,
Because
they do sound
they
like your dog.
the bogey chocos are or the chocos are like ground pigs, I guess if you
Yeah,
want to call them that.
little
Yeah.
mammalian dudes. Yeah,
My dog is a very fat boy. I love
he
him.
is.
But he's very fat. And so
Yeah,
sometimes if you get him running way too fast, he'll go and he
that's
sounds
right.
exactly like a
Yeah.
choco.
The whole time, because they're throughout the whole game basically until chapter
5.
5, I think.
Yeah.
Because I hope none of them are up there in the fucking Wind Valley.
That would be bad.
That would be bad. The whole time I was like, this sounds so familiar. Why do I? Because my dogs don't sound like that. I was like, why do I? That makes so much sense now. Yeah, they sound like your dog.
And there's like I sat here for like 5 minutes just like running around in circles for
Uh-huh.
there's in the cave system. There are the purple bioluminescent mushrooms.
Yeah.
You run
Hmm.
through them, they sound amazing. It
Oh
was
yeah.
like my own
Yep.
little ASMR that I was controlling. I was like,
Oh
it was
yeah.
So good.
So good.
Sound
that's it.
design's real
It was
good.
just it was itching my brain real nice.
Sound design is very important in a game like this specifically. Yeah. Because yeah, like then you get into like the wind. Like the wind feels like you feel that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really quickly, chapter 5, you're climbing up the mountain still, but now you're in the clouds and it is windy as all hell. It is like a
Yep.
storm constantly. And all you like, it tells you like your jumps are now going to be more or less based off of the direction of the wind, which I was like, I'm so game for this. This is such a fun mechanic. And you have the wind flags basically to tell you which way the wind is moving. and then you can time your jumps and stuff. It's a fairly easy section, but perilous. It feels very perilous, but
Yeah.
overall it's pretty easy because you're mostly just jumping around and timing stuff. But then you find a note of Bianca's, and it's interesting. There's two. There's two in very close proximity, but one's kind of hidden in like a bunker. But basically, this is where Bianca's journey stops. She and her crew that were left, they found ballasts, and the crew wanted to like hunt them and throw harpoons and capture them and take one down to the shallows to then, or the low tide is what it's called, to then bring back the water. And now obviously we know why that wouldn't work because we'll talk about it in a moment. But she sticks around, all the ballasts start to disappear, and then you realize as you're reading this note, it's one note that is her very young, and then years and years and years go by, and she dies there. I never found a skeleton, but I'm assuming one of them that you can find is probably hers.
Maybe. I
Yeah.
don't remember. I didn't make it this far this time.
Yeah. But she dies there with a ballast. There's only one. All the other ones left. And it's a very sweet note of like, they just kind of acknowledge each other's existence and are happy that something else is there. And then you get to move ahead. And the end of this chapter, you do the Piper thing. You blow into the giant horn. The final thing lights up and a ballast shows up. And it's covered in moss and nets and barnacles, and it's huge. It has like a glowing purple belly, and it takes you hop on it, and you get a really cool like basically like Uncharted climbing scene where you're like going through the wind, and like the ladder that's one way is now another way, and you're using it in a different direction. It is very, very cool. And the whole time I'm like freaking out because I thought our little ballast is gonna fly off, and then at the end you like kind of cover it from the wind, and I was like, hell yeah. But then you get this beautiful scene of piercing through the clouds, and it's just the sun. And then I was like, okay, are they gonna drop us off somewhere else? And no, they take you all the way to the top, and then we get like a very sad scene that ends up not being sad, but at the time is very sad. Of like, you realize it's cold, and you're like, oh, these things are made like almost 100% of water. And we are now in the frozen area. And then the ballast freezes, and your ballast freeze, and you come crashing down, and you see like a big pillar, and it's basically like a crater on top of this this mountain we've been climbing the whole time. It's a crater with a big pillar in the middle. And I don't know how long it took me to realize this, but I just pressed the button, like the action button, to trigger the ballast, and I got an achievement that said use the ballast call on a frozen ballast, and I was like, huh? And then I look around, and there's just like 100 ballasts, full-grown ballasts, frozen in this crater, and I was like, oh, this is where they all went. They went up here and died, is what I thought. Which
It's the elephant graveyard up here.
Yeah. But why? Why is that? That's what I'm like, what the hell is happening here? But basically, then you climb up the side of the pillar. You get to the top. It's very cool, but it's uneventful in the grand scheme of things. It's not like the harrowing journey that you had to get up there. You get up there, then you have the moment of like trying to wake up your ballast, and because you need him to be the final bit of the Piper. It's a very sad and somber scene, but then all of the ballasts wake up and fly up into what I'm assuming is the frozen moon. I don't know. This is where the game ends, basically. And
It
I
gets
need
a little
to talk
magical.
about it. It does get a little magical, but like ballasts exist in this world. It's fine. Jess, before we give it off to Phil to actually probably get close to the answer of what the hell this game is, what were you going through during this section?
I was actually getting really angry.
Climbing bit?
Because the climbing
Yeah.
bit was just so I couldn't do it. I was like, I've done 5 chapters before this. I have cleared those. I have not needed help. And my boyfriend had just gotten home from work, and I kept failing. I kept not doing good. I kept like, I would put my piton on, and then I would just like not do good, and I'd keep falling. And he was like, "Do you need help? Do you want me to like try to do it?" I was like, "Oh, no, I got it." But I also was like, I was sad, and I kept checking up on my little ballast
Mhm.
because I was like, "Are you alive, buddy?" So I'd have him do
Mhm.
the little call every so often because I was like,
Yeah.
"Please, please."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I was just sad and angry the entire time I was climbing up there. But I
Yeah.
made it a point because I had skipped over some of the constellations. I don't know if like
Mhm.
that
I
was
missed one, I think.
I made sure to go back and get them all. I would put my baton on, cl
Mhm.
belay my way down,
Repel.
rappel,
Yeah.
and then touch it and go right back up and keep climbing.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was gonna get an achievement for it, so I wanted to make sure I did.
I don't know if there is one, but when they did the zoom out after you light, I had one missing. I was like, oh no,
Oh.
it was really annoying because I thought I was thorough. Thought I was thorough.
Mhm.
Yeah, the climbing I could definitely see. This was the one point where I was like cutting it close on a couple of times with my stamina. Um, Obviously, I played with the accessibility to not have to grip, but I still had stamina. And there was some times where you're like, I have to all I can do is jump, and I will have zero stamina here in a moment if I jump. So yeah, I could definitely see that. But all right, Phil, what do you think this game like? What do you think this bit of this game is? Because I'm very curious.
So, speaking of some of the notes that give you some details about the
Hmm.
world, I think there's one very important one, and I don't remember where it is. I thought it was
Okay.
pretty early on. But basically, the reason for the world being the way that it
Hmm.
is that the planet has stopped moving.
Oh shit.
Yes.
And I can't remember if it says in that note if it's like a greed thing or something,
Hmm.
but something has happened so that the planet has stopped moving, and the side of the planet that you're on is in constant day.
Uh,
So the reason that the ballasts are up there is because they are creatures of water. They
mhm.
follow the water wherever it is. The water on this side of the planet is only able to exist as ice up in the
Mm.
topmost regions. So I think, and it's been a while since I've seen this part. I think what's happening is that since the planet is not moving, there is no rotation, which means that gravity is pushing all of the water to the other side of the planet.
Mhm.
There's no water and no rotation. There are no longer any tides. So water
Mhm.
can't come back. The like cycle of life cannot continue because you're kind of in this stasis. And I
Mhm.
think the thing where they go up to like circle the moon and do stuff is like starting the rain so the planet can begin spinning again and like
Oh,
undoing all of the
like
stuff
a
that has been
like
happened.
like a deer scare kind of thing where it's gonna like push all the
Yeah,
water down so that it flips and starts spinning
I think
basically.
so.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
I didn't
It's
catch
super
that.
vague though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
I
it's got to be.
I saw the note and that like in the cutscene I was like, "Oh, I thought we with our horn and with the ballasts, we were rotating the earth." And as it was rotating,
That could be.
it got pulled
Yeah,
the ballasts got pulled up and that was
That
just
could
that.
be it
Like,
too
yeah.
because the last horn that we blow does make a sphere start spinning. So
yeah, I
maybe
thought it was
that's literally the gravitational
Yeah.
sphere of the Earth for whatever reason. I don't know.
I thought it
There's a
was an
lot of things.
allegory for us like making it start to rotate. I was like,
Yeah,
"Great."
maybe it could
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It could be. But yeah, I thought it was so interesting because like I did love that you see this and you see all the water is frozen and you're like, this is where the water comes from. Like everything flows from here. This fills up with water and pours down the side of the pillar kind of thing. And then you also have obviously the ocean that is surrounding everything. But yeah, this is like such a good game of like everything's gonna be kind of unanswered. Like I missed that. I might have read it, but I think I missed that note of that the world has stopped spinning. Maybe I didn't pick up on the subtlety of like the days don't end kind of thing. But like there's so much in this game. Like I missed like 18 things in the last two chapters
Yeah.
because I was just trying to get through the game. And I'm like, this is like one of those weird times where I probably will go back and just be like, either I'll go do it myself or I'll just read the notes online because I want to. because there's just so much to this game and so much to this world that like there's so much thought. Like it basically feels like somebody played an entire campaign of a tabletop RPG and then we just got plopped into the leftover, like
the aftermath,
what's left kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like all the players are gone but their stories are still around, and that's so cool. That's always a cool feeling. And it's a space that I feel like indie devs specifically, like they do explore these because they can, and the limitations force them to be like, yeah, we don't have any other characters in this game because it's just the one. We just have little creatures and one really big crab rock pebble, which was very funny, which we didn't talk about. Just that dude just cruising through, which was very funny. He got woken up by a big horn. But yeah, this game was great. I really enjoyed this one. I'm very curious where it falls at the end of the year, for our game of the year stuff. But any final actual closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Game was good. Go play it. Like,
Yeah,
that's all I can really say. Like, it was great. Masterclass of soundtrack, masterclass of audio design,
level design,
design.
environmental storytelling. Like,
Oh, that was another thing.
okay,
sorry, it was just a thing I
No,
remembered
good.
that I realized. I think it was the cave systems. I panned the camera around and I saw our character's face. I don't know why it never clicked to me that we were wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like how people wear it for the snow, because oh my god, it's because the sun's always out and everything's bleached. And I was like, we didn't need that piece of like character design, but they still put it in because it still is like accurate.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just love character design.
Well, especially because it's like the old school, like not sunglasses where it's just like the slit of the eye.
Yeah.
To shield as much as you can. And yeah, and then I think in the cave system you don't wear them because you're inside.
I think it was okay. Then it might have been in the transition between.
Yeah. Which is another nice touch of this rock climber wearing the specific gear that's needed in the certain environments, which I thought was very cool. We didn't even really talk about the character design. Like the character design of the main character, the Piper, is super cool. Like the all the gear they're wearing, the fact that their little tattoos light up when using the horn and interacting with the ballast, and it's very cool. It gave a lot of, and then like the noises that they make gave a lot of like Shadow of the Colossus, Ico, Last Guardian vibes, like that stuff. It was very, very cool design.
That last ballast, when you finally climb on the ballast, is also just like straight out of Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh yeah. Which it did make me want to go play that, which will eventually make its way to this channel because I think it's like 15 hours long. That might be a long work together, Jess, where we play that one together, because boy, is that a cool ass game. Well, yeah, I think that's gonna do it, man. I think that's it. Unless we have anything else I feel like there's always something that pops up when I'm like, you don't get to talk about this game again. What do you want to say? That's basically like it triggers something into the brain of being like, wait, I have to say this. So if there's any
I will say this about Jusant. One of the reasons that I recommended it to you from the beginning is, well, all of the reasons we already talked about. There's one that I haven't talked about, and it is that Jusant is the reason, or very close to the reason, that I review video games for a website.
Yeah.
It is very much, I was playing it when it was on Game Pass, Jess, probably around the same time you hopped into it. And I wrote like a teeny tiny like write-up of this game on Threads at the time, back in the great exodus from Twitter wars. And I like posted a bunch of pictures, I remember, of like the Piper putting like a rock on top of one of the cairns and like looking out, sitting next to the boat in the desert area, and like obviously zip lining through all of the jellyfish. And I think that if I were to like come away with like a big thought on this game and like what it means to me that this game exists, is that going all the way back to what I was saying about Limbo from the beginning, like I played Jusant when it came out, or roughly a little bit after it came out. And this game is in the pantheon of like Jusant, Indica, the game that I talked about last year a ton, Camille and Laura, like these little indie games. And like, Don't Nod is somewhat of an indie, but these games that explore these big ideas that you can't help but just sit back and think about. And I think that the raw creativity that goes into some of these games is something that even when I was playing it alongside Return to Grace, when I was playing it next to Dordon, which is another good game that y'all should play, they are just games that I want to tell people about. Like they are things that I feel deserve to be written about. They deserve to be talked about. And just because this game came out in 2023, just because this game came out in 2023 doesn't mean that the conversation about it ends.
No.
Like I am still contemplating writing a review of this video game 3 years after it came out, because I think it's very easy to, here we go. It's very easy to let the water fade away and change your life with it, but there is still everyday life that happens and goes on, and I think it is worth sitting down and reminding people of the old stories. So yeah, that's my thing about Jusant. I basically created 70%complete.com because of this video game. It means a lot to me, and I'm glad that we got to play it together.
Hell yeah. I'm glad that it means that much to you to come on the show. And I think, that's I don't know if I've mentioned this on the pod here, but our end of the year, like game of the year spectacular that we do, the Cody Goatee, the corner of the internet game of the year, that we do, which I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to do it with the amount of content creators we have in the sphere now. We are changing it to just be like, hey, what's the best game you played for the first time this year? Right. And your idea of like, this game still needs to be talked about. And I want to promote that, right? Like,
yeah,
I want to support indie games, but I also want to be talking about these older games. I want to support new indie games that come out as best I can, but I also want to talk about those indie games that came out like a decade ago that I might have missed. And it's the first, like Beacon Pines, I played for the first time this year, which Phil, you said you're going to bring it up on the episode. So maybe you can do it at the end of the episode. Beacon Pines is one of the best games I've ever played, and I just got it in a bundle randomly. Like it was just sitting in my Steam library, and I want to celebrate those games, and not just here. I want to celebrate them alongside the great games that come out this year as well. So I think that's a good it's a good thesis and I think that's why me and you align well when it comes to the way we make content. In the grand scheme of things, especially for this show. Like this show is just like, hey, want to play that game that came out 15 years ago? Like,
y'all heard of this one?
Yeah, have you heard of this one? Mario Odyssey? Have you heard of that?
Let's check it out.
Mario Odyssey is going to be the last game we ever cover on this show because we've been talking about it since year one, and it's never going to get covered until the last episode.
That's how you know the show ends.
When you see Mario
Odyssey hits.
What's really funny is I have like 4 of the world's 100%ed on Odyssey. I'm still actively working on it, but I have 100%ed things.
Yeah. We'll get there eventually. It's going to be the longest short game, long talk, like playtime that Jess has ever had.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
But Phil, before you sign off and tell people where they can find you, please tell me about Beacon Pines and what the deal is.
So the deal is I knew about Beacon Pines before it was even cool.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Once again, this game is downloaded on my Xbox. It's so the real shame of it all is that I am in video games and also in real life. I am a hoarder of media and things. I have a massive Steam backlog that I will never finish, and I continue to hoard things in it because that's just who I am as a person. So I did that with Game Pass for a really long time. I would just fill up that hard drive with stuff and then get sucked into playing something else and never go back. I still have the Game Pass version of Beacon Pines installed on my Xbox. The time that I went back to go finally play it, wasn't on the subscription anymore.
Oh no.
So I've been sitting around waiting to play it, and at this point it just continues to fall off the list of long things to play, but I do want to finish it by the end of this year. to talk about it in the
really
Coti because it looked amazing. I actually have not listened to y'all talk about it because
please don't.
I don't want to know anything about that game going in.
Dude, it is so entirely your shit.
I know.
Oh yeah,
it's so good. Okay, Phil, tell people where they can find you. Thank you so much for joining us. Also, like,
of course,
you're welcome back anytime. We only get one episode a month, so being a guest on here, we gotta be picky with our guests, and we love having you back.
Yeah, no, it's been a good cathartic time talking about this game. I have not talked about it with a ton of people before, so it's nice to finally get all them feelings out.
Oh yeah.
You can find my stuff at 70percentcomplete.com, where you can read the blogs, the reviews, the articles, the rants, the screeds, all of that stuff. You can also go to your podcast player of choice, type in 70% complete. You'll get our podcasts that are sometimes every 2 weeks and sometimes whenever I get to them. We talk about weird things like philosophy and the patch notes for Helldivers 2. It's kind of a variety show. A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that.
It's a lot,
like in a good way, where we end on a theme where it means something in greater life. And then you can also go give us a subscription on youtube.com/70% complete. Go there, hang out, and wait for the Wolfenstein video to hit soon. It will be a feature-length project. I've got a couple of other ideas cooking, and I'm very proud of where that is right now. So if there's one thing you end this and say, wow, I like how this guy talks about themes and cares about letters too much, go to the YouTube page, give us a sub, and wait for that Wolfenstein video. It will be worth your time, I promise.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Yeah, definitely go check out Phil's stuff, member of the Corner of the Internet. And member of the Corner of the Internet Discord, which is where, Jess, where can people go to join that Discord and chat with us and Phil?
You can find us and Phil at coti.pika.page. That's coti.pika.page. That is where you'll find the links to all of our stuff, links to our Corner of the Internet Discord, all the links for Phil, all the links for everyone involved in Corner of the Internet.
Hell yeah. And yeah, that'll do it for this episode. It's going to be a double month. So if you're listening to this now on the 13th, like 2 weeks later, there's going to be an episode with Emily from No Small Games where we're talking about Minami Lane, which is I heard on No Small Games that Emily has a thesis. I'm bringing another person on to have their thesis and stand on their soapbox to talk about the problem with management and city builder games and where they go wrong. And I said, sure, you want to come play this cute one that you mentioned in your podcast and then come tell me what the hell you mean by that, Emily? And she said yes. So she's going to come on. That's going to be the next episode. We missed an episode in June because scheduling is hard and we're human. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one and take care on your way.
Bye.
See ya.
Because if we start pulling out deep cut games from before she was born for Blender.
Yeah. Which there's a lot of them.
Most of them, actually.
Most of them, yeah. Actually, you know what? Not most of them. Because of the
way that you have it filtered.
And the turnout of how many games came out now versus before she was born.
That's true.
Most games are deep cut games now, actually. That's fun. That's fun to think about. Most games are deep cut games. Okay.
It's cool. Not fun to think about. That makes me sad.
Get crumpled to dust, and we haven't even started the podcast yet.
Yeah, jeez.